Very good afternoon and welcome to the Outstanding Women in Science Forum organized by the Faculty of Science, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia, UTM. We are extremely lucky today as for our session this afternoon, we have 4 esteemed panelists who will be discussing the topic of winning prestigious awards and fellowships. Before we commence, allow me to briefly introduce our panelists today. Our first panelist, chemist Dr. Zaiton Abdul Majid, is a professor of chemistry at the Department of Chemistry, Faculty of Science, UTM. She obtained her bachelor's and master in chemistry from Western Illinois University, United States, and PhD in civil engineering from University of Malaya. She's currently the Dean, Faculty of Science, UTM, since 2020. She was the Deputy Dean, Research, Innovation, Development and Alumni from 2018 to 2021 and Head, Department of Chemistry from 2015 till 2018. She's also currently in the Working Group for Halal Consumers Goods under Department of Standards Malaysia. She was one of the 4 recipients and the first from Asia to be awarded the Lise Meitner Guest Professorship Award at Lund University, Sweden in 2014. A member of numerous professional bodies, she actively promotes STEM programs, particularly to children and youth, in an effort to increase the Malaysian students' number of enrollment in STEM streams and empower our children and youth with quality STEM education. As for our second guest today, chemist Dr. Aemi Syazwani Abdul Keyon, she's currently a senior lecturer of analytical chemistry in the Department of Chemistry, Faculty of Science, UTM. She received her Bachelor of Science in Industrial Chemistry in 2008 and then Master of Science Chemistry in 2011, both from UTM. She then obtained her PhD in Physical Science and Analytical Chemistry at the University of Tasmania, Australia in 2014. She is the head of Analytical Chemistry Panel, head of Separation Science and Technology Research Group, and the Deputy Quality Manager at Analytical Service Center, an ISO 17025 certified lab in the Faculty of Science, UTM. Her research encompasses separation science at microscale level for efficient analysis in food and pollutants. She was recently awarded the APEC Australia Women in Research Fellowship 2022 grant that enabled her to conduct a short-term research in the University of Tasmania for 3 months. Dr. New Siu Yi, our third panelist, is an associate professor in University of Nottingham, Malaysia. She obtained her bachelor's degree in industrial chemistry from UTM and PhD from the Department of Chemistry, National University of Singapore. She also did attachment at University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign and University of Strathclyde. Before joining the academic field, she was a scientist in the Institute of Materials Research and Engineering, A*STAR, Singapore. Dr. Siu's research focuses on the development of nanosensors for bioapplication. She won the L'Oreal UNESCO Fellowship for Women in Science in 2021 and was selected as the highly commended finalist in the Women of the Future Southeast Asia 2020 for Science, Technology and Digital category. Last but not least, Dr. Izzati Muhammad Noor is a senior lecturer at the Department of Biosciences, Faculty of Science, UTM. After completing her PhD at the University of Cambridge in 2015, she has initiated a research lab to study metabolic engineering and genome of cyanobacteria for production of biological compounds. Her research interest in application of the new cyanobacterial strains for production of bioplastic while reducing the industrial noxious gas had won her the fellowship for the Inclusive Science Leadership Program for early and mid-career researchers in APEC 2022. There, her team won the Gold Award for APEC Community Grant, and as team champion, she automatically received another APEC travel grant to attend the APEC 2023 in San Francisco as a mentor. In addition, her idea on the study of vitamins biosynthesis pathway in cyanobacteria resulted in her being awarded the ASEAN-India Training and Research Fellowship. Talk about an impressive lineup. I'm sure we'll have nothing short of a very fruitful discussion today. So a note for our panelists, although some of the questions today will be directed towards specific panelists, Feel free to chime in anytime you wish. This is a roundtable discussion after all, and the more contribution we have, all the better. Well, very well then. Before we get our discussion proper, I would like to ask each of our panelists today to tell us about the award or fellowship that you obtained. Although I briefly shared about that earlier in the respective introduction, I'm sure our audience are eager to learn more. Perhaps we will start with Professor Zaiton.
Thank you, Dr. Sheila. Okay, let me tell you the audience a bit about the award which I got in 2014. It is called the Lise Meitner Professorship Award. It was created way back in 1999 as part of Lund University work for gender equality and diversity. Basically, the aim is to offer distinguished female researchers the opportunity to work at Lund University, Sweden for a period between 6 months to 9 months, 6 months to a year, and to be a role model for younger women researchers, teachers, and students at Lund University. So I went there in 2014, part of the 2012, 2013, 2014 Professorship Award. So there were 4 of us. So I took the last part between April to December 2014. So one was from UK, two was from UK, one was from France, and I was the only one from Malaysia. So a little bit about that. Maybe I will dwell a bit more on the other questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Zaiton. So how about you, Dr. Aemi? Maybe you can go next.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sheila. I just want to check whether you are hearing me well.
Yes, we can hear you.
Excuse my sore throat today. I'm having sore throat. So the fellowship that I won is actually the APEC Australia Women in Research Fellowship. Unlike like Dr. Izzati is Women in Science. So this one is for STEM background researchers from APEC countries, for example, China, Mexico, Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand, won a mobility grant for them to do networking and also research collaboration with Australian institutions. So basically, it's already started about 6 years. And usually each year, 2 participants from each country are selected. And for this year, 2022, fortunately, they select double the size. They select 7 from Malaysia, and I'm one of it. And same like Dr. Zaiton, I'm going to talk more about it later.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Mia. I'm sure we'll be looking forward to more details. Okay, so how about you, Dr. Sui? Would you like to go next?
Hi, so the award that I obtained is from L'Oreal UNESCO for Women and Science Award in 2021. So this award was established in 1998 by Foundation of L'Oreal in partnership with UNESCO for this Women in Science program. And over the years, there are about 117 countries joined the program. So in Malaysia, this award was started back in 2006, and it is to recognize and promote the works and contribution of women scientists. And every year there are 3 female scientists selected in the country, and will be awarded 30,000 to do our research as well as to promote our research. So I will talk more about that later on.
Thank you, Dr. Sui. So now I shall invite Dr. Izzati to share her award.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. Hi everyone. So I'm Izzati. I'm from Biosciences Department, as Dr. Sheila mentioned just now. So I received 2 different scholarships, but the one ASEAN-India was actually awarded to me in 2021, but because of COVID, then I just recently can go to India. So I finished the fellowship just recently for ASEAN-India, which was awarded by Ministry of Science and Technology India to all researchers from ASEAN, apparently. So per year, they would award around 5 to 10 people from ASEAN countries. So that's on the Indian ASEAN Training Research Fellowship. And then the other one that I had was very much similar to the Aemi, which was awarded to researchers from APEC countries members. So that one was, but mine was a lot shorter than the Aemi, because the Aemi was mainly doing something on research, in which the program that I went for APEC in Thailand, that one was more on like a leadership program. So that program was for just a week. So every year they would award it, I think only 3 representatives from each APEC country members. So yeah, so that is also annually award to any researchers who applied to the fellowship. Okay, back to you, Dr. Sheila.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zaiton, and thank you, ladies. So for my next question, so these are all very impressive awards and fellowship. So what made you or inspired you to step up and apply for the award of fellowship? Maybe we can start with Dr. Aemi.
Okay, the thing is, what inspired me is actually sort of like killing two birds in with one stone. It first is self-care. When you do research outside, you are sort of like refreshing your mind on in doing research. And also the second thing, what inspired me to do it because of the career path that we follow with that kind of mobility and also award. I think that's what I can think of now. So the inspiration actually must come within yourself.
Okay, some very sound words. Okay, so how about you, Dr. Sui?
I think the unique thing about this L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science is the funder makes a great effort to improve the representation of women scientists in science career. So every year I come across these L'Oreal winners. They share their stories in the newspapers and how they share how they come along in research. So I think it really resonates with me. So I just step forward and apply for it.
Okay, that's very inspiring to hear. What about you, Dr. Izzati? What is your story?
So the main thing that inspired me to apply the fellowship was, I think, during the COVID situation where we had to, just stay at home, everybody. So that was the time when I think that it's impossible without networking. So so the main reason that I applied to both fellowships was mainly to have international networking, because when during the COVID, when I was staying at home, then I was like going through some of the international grant calls, and apparently most of the international grant calls, they would require you to have international networking. So which means collaborations with other researchers from other countries. And therefore, that was really the main reason, because previously other than I only had like relationship with my previous lab when I was doing my PhD. That's all, nothing other than outside that circle. So, but which was actually, it's different when you have a very friendship relationship compared to, professional relationship. So networking was really my main intention when I was applying for both fellowships. So yeah, so that's for me.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Izzati. Very smart move to do during MCO. I wish I've thought of that. Okay, so what about you, Professor Zaiton? What are your motivations to applying?
Okay, Sheila and the rest and the audience, when I applied for the Lise Meitner guest professorship, I was 52 years old. I was very old. And at that time, all this while I was in UTM. Of course, I studied in the US and UCLA, and I was UTM. I need to go somewhere out whereby there is more cultural diversity, different work background, the urge to search for new knowledge. And at that time, the awards was for chemical engineering sector. So I said, well, I have a PhD in civil engineering, and the chemical engineering needs a chemist for the water treatment plant. So I said, why not? Why don't I try? And I braved myself. I talked to my husband, and he said, well, go ahead. And so I was there for 9 months for the worship, and I'm glad I applied for it. I have never thought of the award being a promotion asset, and so I just want to get new knowledge. I want to have a more diversified background, a new collaboration, seeking new networking, new environment, new friends. Since I'm already 52 years old, so I need to go out and look for something very new at that time in time. Yeah.
Well, okay, thank you, Professor Zaiton. Even more inspiring, putting yourself out there at 52 years old. Okay, so I'm sure all of you put in a lot of efforts in applying for this. But for all of us who have not gotten all this award or fellowship, can you let us know what are the benefits of applying for this award and fellowship? Perhaps I'll invite Dr. Sui to start first.
Well, I think I mentioned just now that the funder they really makes a lot of impact to promote the representation of women. So it actually provides a lot of platform for us to reach out to public. So we get to meet social media and then share our stories so that it can reach the public easily and people know what we are doing really behind the scene. I think this is very important because when we talk to public that we work as a scientist, so their first impression is we are holding the glass where missing the liquid of different color here and there. Even when we say we are chemists, they are imagining we making bombs sometimes. So I think we are actually doing more than that, and many of the science application is actually closely relevant to our daily lives. So this should make known to the public, and I'm glad that I got the opportunities to do that. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sui. So yes, very common misconceptions of a scientist and chemist. Okay, so what about you, Dr. Izzati?
As I mentioned just now, the main reason I applied for the fellowships definitely for international networking. So really, because like if you go through a lot of things, I mean, international grants without collaborations, especially international collaborations, we are not eligible to apply for any grants. So by having this kind of networkings, actually not just you have the opportunity to form a collaborations for international grants. On top of that, you are actually, you would have some travel money or travel support finance so that you can, travel to many different places. Like, I mean, who would imagine to go, for example, to South Africa? If given a choice, nobody would, buy flight ticket and then go to South Africa. But apparently there is a specific, for example, I think it's called Global Academy Science Global Academy Fellowship that would allow researchers to travel to South Africa for like I think 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So you see, like it's not just the fellowship and the awards, but it's actually what comes after that. At the grants, especially, of course, you can have a lot of collaborators together with you, and then you will have opportunities to travel to countries that are not being in any list, I would say. I mean, I wouldn't put, for example, South Africa in my travel list, for example. So, or even like to maybe, for example, to Czech Republic. I mean, who would have that kind of countries in the travel list? But actually there are a lot of other things when you visit to these kind of countries. You are actually having, different perspective, and you would definitely can not I mean, you can have a lot of self-development, I would say, other than collaborations. Yeah, so these are all the the benefits that you will gain after the fellowship.
Mhm. Okay, so thank you, Dr. Izzati. Definitely very attractive. So, Professor Zaiton, so you mentioned about, wanting to have a new environment, just a research environment. So, would you like to comment about the benefits of applying for the fellowship that you went for?
Okay, Sheila. Now, the Lise Minor Professorship places us at the Lund University, Sweden. Now, for the audience information, Lund University is one of the largest, oldest, and broadest universities in the Scandinavian. It has an excellent academic reputation with a very large number of visiting professors and international students. So who wouldn't want to go there? You'll be mingling with these top-notch scientists and students from all over the world. And when I went there, I was a chemist in a chemical engineering department, specifically water environmental engineering. So my contribution was that they wanted a chemist to help them with their work. So I basically worked with the engineers in water treatment. I was able to connect with industries because most of their PhD students are industrial PhDs. So the PhDs come in, we discuss, we have a good networking with the industries, discussing. I basically taught them a bit of chemistry during the postgraduate presentation. I commented on the chemistry aspect of their work, and it was a very good balance of knowledge sharing, networking with the engineers. So basically, I was also able to sort of to supervise the students over there, even though for 9 months, the master student as well as the undergraduate students, and later on bringing two more master students to UTM from University. So the benefits are multiple. You have a very good working environment. You have a good knowledge sharing, not only in your area, but you are actually able to contribute to the other areas. So I think it's important whereby we chemists have to make our presence in other fields. We cannot just be working alone in chemistry or biology or math. We have to be in other fields as well.
Okay, sure. I very much agree with that. So what about Dr. Amy? Would you like to elaborate more on how you killed two birds with one stone?
Sorry, I'm unmute just now. Okay, so basically the benefit actually of obviously it is the networking, research collaboration and everything. The one that I really tap into the benefit is on the personal development in terms of you are working with different kind of background, the scientists and engineer. Some of them are non-scientists actually that I can mingle on. Another one is the benefits of understanding different institutions conduct of the academic side. For example, when I was there, it is not all research go to the lab every day. I'm exposed to how they conduct teaching and learning, examination conduct, and also how they build a student's career over there. So it is like that's what I also want to say. It's like killing two birds with one stone. Basically, tap into that kind of benefit. You have the chance, you have the time, go for it, and just dig out what's their advantage on being Australia's leading institution. So that's what is the most beneficial for me on top of that networking that been discussed by 3 other panels.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Amy. That looks like more than two birds that you killed for this fellowship. Okay, so thank you, panelists. So just as I know, the attendance has just been shared in the chat box. We would like to invite all the audience to please fill it out. And also a little side note to all the audience in our WebEx session. If you have any questions for our panelists, please do type them in the chat box. If time permits, I will definitely be directing them to our panel. Okay, so moving on. So Professor Zaiton, when you began your career many years ago, did you ever imagine that you would have received this kind of fellowship and award?
Well, no, when I started my career in UTM way back in 1990, the focus then was just teaching. Yeah, it was just teaching, and we were taught to how to make sure we teach all the students, teaching them well, doing their final year students, and then having a PhD student, a master's, postgraduate student, and so on. All these awards are alien to me because at that time there was no there was not much stress on getting awards, getting networking, and so on. So when I was offered to apply for this award, because at that time I was a fellow of IPASA, Institute Pengurusan Air dan Sumber Asli, in Faculty of Civil Engineering, the then director of IPASA asked me, would you like to apply for this professorship award? So I asked him, how long do I have to be there? What do I have to do? Well, you have to write, you have to give your CV, write what you want to do there, and so on. And he said, you have to be there for 9 months. I said, oh, 9 months, but I have children, I have children, I have a husband. so and then I discussed with my husband. I said, I think maybe this would be a good time for me to just go out and see more new things, diversify, get new knowledge and so on. And we agreed. So I've never imagined, I've never even planned to get such awards. But sometimes things come along, which something at the age of 52, you say, oh, come on, I just want to be back at home and, just stay in Malaysia. But 52, well, this is a chance for me to explore new things, even though I'm 52 years old. So, it was actually a surprise when they offered me. And when I applied, somebody from the university, Professor Olsen, came and interviewed me here. And then later, a few months later, I got the news that I got the award. Yeah.
Very impressive, like I say. Okay. Okay, so how about you, Dr. Sui? Have you ever imagined that you will receive this L'Oreal UNESCO award? Because I think many of us young researchers have tried to apply for this fellowship.
Yeah, actually, I don't think back in many years before when I just started my career, I never think of applying this kind of award because I was the kind of introvert people. Even when I was small, I hardly really joined any competition or activities. But after I started my career as an academic, I can, like what Dr. Izzati and the rest say, the networking is very important. So we need to get people to see what we are doing. Then only we get more opportunities to really progress and develop ourselves. So I just literally started to explore these kind of activities when I become an independent, researcher after joining the academic field.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Sui. So we can see that doesn't matter if you're 52 years old, you just want to start, or even if you're not active in school or even in university, you can. It's never too late to start. Okay. So Dr. Izzati.
May I add to that, to
Sure,
Dr.
sure.
Sui?
Please, please.
So
Go on.
it's very interesting when Dr. Sui mentioned that we need people to know about ourselves. Like even for myself, I'm not a social media person, not at all. I don't have Instagram, for example. I don't have, I'm not a social media person. In conclusion, so when Dr. Sui mentioned that we need people to know what we are doing, so the first idea that I had was I am not a social media person. So how do I make myself visible, right? So other than, of course, we write a lot, we write papers, we write books, for example, yeah. So that is one way of gaining visibility. But then when we are publishing in papers or books, it means that we are we are gaining visibility among just people within our circle, within our research of interest circle. But when we had any fellowships, we are actually producing or gaining visibility with other people who are not within the same circle of our research of interest. So I think, yeah, so Dr. Sui got a very strong point there, that visibility is very important. So one way of gaining visibility, especially international visibility, is via, getting the fellowships.
Yes, I'm sure we all agree. So, okay. So I guess we'll be seeing Dr. Izzati in TikTok soon. No? Okay. Hopefully. Okay. Okay, so for the next question, Dr. Izzati and Dr. Aemi, do you think there is a lack of fellowship, awards, or even opportunity for women in science, specifically in our country? Why or why not? Perhaps we can start with Dr. Aemi.
Okay. Honestly speaking, yes, there's a lack of fellowship or award related to women in our country, as compared to outside fellowships such as the British Council Women in Science Fellowship, or maybe even from the Organization of Women. I'm actually reading this. Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World. So basically, these two fellowship and award are based outside, catering for Malaysian. So I think they're still lacking somewhere in the movement of STEM in Malaysia. Why not we can be like that? Okay, meaning that we focus on having our own fellowship, okay, to be like competitive with what outside have been doing. So yes, there is a lack of fellowship, but I'm positive. I think when the movement of STEM for women and also for younger girls, like blooming from now, eventually maybe in 10 or 15 years, things will get better in our country.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aemi. So what about you, Dr. Izzati? What are your thoughts on this?
So yeah, I do agree with Dr. Aemi when on the amount of fellowships offered by Malaysian government. Of course, national fellowship or national awards. The number is very limited, of course. But again, in terms of international fellowships, there are a lot, actually a lot. If you go through to, for example, as simple as Euraxis, there are like, I would say, like more than 20 fellowships or awards. When we say fellowships or awards, it doesn't have to be for 2 months or 3 months. It can be like, you know, like a week, what most of us have been having. So in terms of international, I would say there are a lot. You just have a matter of, you know, key in some keywords in the Google, then you'll be able to see a lot of fellowships internationally. And one thing that I learned after that 2 fellowships that I've got, the thing is that if we are a woman, it's actually an advantage to us, because apparently most of that fellowships, they have to have some percentage for women. So say for example, the Euraxis fellowship, for example, they have to have certain percentage for women winners, and therefore if you are a lady, so I would really encourage you, because the percentage of winning that fellowship is actually a lot higher compared if you're a man. So so that's what they have been telling, well, they have been telling me. So I actually, the one ASEAN-India training research fellowship, I was actually benefiting from that women percentage for that fellowship. So because it's currently I think should I say a movement or an idea by global funders that they have to put some, you know, some percentage of women to be the world leaders. So therefore, I would say all of that international fellowship, they would have some women percentage. So I would really encourage, and to be honest, the reason why they have that percentage specifically for women is because the number of applicants, women applicants, is actually very low. So therefore, if you are applying for any of these fellowships and you are a woman, trust me, you definitely have high chances. But then, of course, for example, if the fellowship specifically mentioned like L'Oreal Women Fellowship, for example, like Dr. Sui got, so that one, of course, the competition is a lot higher because it's really specifically for just women. Yeah. So, you know, so because we are competing among the women. So that's what I'm saying. So I think, of course, again, as both of us, I mean, all of us agree that the number of national fellowships and awards, definitely the number is very limited. But if you look outside Malaysia, there are a lot. It's just a matter of applying or not applying. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Izzati.
Dr. Sheila,
Yes, okay.
can I just add like a note on that? I
course.
really agree with what Dr. Izzati said about specific ratio and so on. It's just that when I see the list of participants here are also some ratio of it are men. So I just want to align the understanding that this kind of fellowship specific for women is not a feminist thing. It's not a feminism or it's not a sexism thing. I receive a lot of commentary on, okay, you get a women fellowship because you're a woman, blah blah blah. But they see, sorry voice, but they some of you guys actually see this as a feminist movement, but it's not, because in the first place, women is already in terms of lagging behind. It's just that we would like to be at par or to get working together with the other gender. That's why I want to add on that. I just want to align the understanding on this.
So the one, the APEC fellowship that I got to go to Thailand, they, even though it says for women, but actually they do accept men applicants. Even during the program, we had, I think, 10 men during the program. So, you know, as Dr. Aemi said, it's not really about being a feminist or
Mm.
anything like that. Okay.
So thank you for your respect. I very much agree on that. That we are trying to be on par. It's not that we want special treatments. Okay. Okay. So for my next question, since we talk about women applying and everything, Dr. Sui, can I get your opinion on what do you think is the most significant barrier to female applying for these awards or fellowship?
Uh, the most significant barrier. Do you mean applying or after getting?
Applying, which means why they did not go and apply.
Uh, I think it's like what just now Dr. Amy and Dr. Izzati mentioned that this the position of women scientists is a bit difficult because of the multiple roles that we are holding, and that's why we have all these equality, diversity, and integrity policy implemented all across the institution, not just in academic but actually in all workforce. So the most difficult thing is I think is because of the multiple roles that I'm holding. Because as an academic, I think this apply not just on gender, but it's all apply for all of us. Because as an academic, we have to teach, we have to supervise, and also on top of that, we have our admin roles like exam officers, etc. At the same time, we have to do research, and then back at home, we also a daughter, a wife, and a mother. So all these are actually really consume a lot of time, and we all equally only have 24 hours a day. So if we want to really put effort and apply for this kind of award or fellowship, we really need to juggle a lot of things at the same time, and we have to allocate a big amount of time for this to really put effort and make sure that we pay our 100% in securing it. So that is the main barrier that I'm facing, I guess, during the application. And as you say, it's a very competitive fellowship award, so we definitely have to put a lot of effort for that.
Okay, sure. Okay, thank you very much, Lucy. I very much agree about the juggling part. We are all struggling with that, I'm sure. At least I am. Okay, so Dr. Amy, would you like to also chime in on this?
Okay, the most significant barrier. You know what? This is one of the question asked from APEC Australia Women in Research application that consists like around 20% of the mark. They want applicant to write to them what are your significant barriers. So basically, I already answered this like a few months ago, and I think that's also the point that maybe make me unable to get it, which is the inclusivity of the family. So I'm using the word inclusivity of the family in terms of doing this together. So it is a barrier that is a positive in my case, meaning that when I want to go for fellowship, I'm thinking about what will happen to my family. Okay, should I bring everyone? And then when I see that the terms and condition of this APEC Women in Research Fellowship saying that okay, you are allowed to bring 1 or 2 children with you, that's the winning point already for me to apply for it. And at that time, that is it's like a relief for that kind of barrier, because they actually acknowledge this kind of barrier and allow us to do this like to get this opportunity together with the family. So again, the significant barrier is always on how you can include everyone within your career path and also to do your research in networking.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
what I think.
Thank you, Dr. Amy. So, perhaps, okay, we heard of Dr. Amy's and also Dr. Suyi's struggle, but Professor Zaiton and Dr. Izzati, what has been the most significant barrier in your career or your application journey? Perhaps we can start with Dr. Zaiton, Prof. Zaiton.
Okay, in my application journey to Lise minor, okay, of course at that age, Sheila and the rest, being 52, I have children who are going to school. I have my daughter's 8 years old. So inclusivity of the family, as what Dr. Aemi mentioned, was the top priority. So we have to sort of agree with the husband, I'll be away for 9 months. Who are going to take the children who are at school? Some really were at the university, and for the youngest one, we talked with the university, and they agreed that we can bring your daughter to Sweden and have international schools. So we have to look for schools, international schools, and see whether my daughter can fit in the environment. Okay, so basically, in terms of the application journey, it was quite straightforward in the sense that I was interviewed here. I wrote the application, I was interviewed, but then in the preparation, once everything was approved, the preparation, the family, who's going to take care of the house, and things like that. So in terms of, I'll be alone with my daughter, both women, my daughter was 8 years old then, and so we decided that one of the son will have to come with me at least for 3 months during the semester break to sort of be with me in the early part, of the professorship. So that was the only barrier, I think, or at least the obstacles which we had overcome together as a family, because this cannot be a one woman show, something like that. Once you are married, you have children, you have to make sure that whatever you do, whatever award that you want to apply, you have to ask the family members. If once you're being a wife, for example, once your husband say, no, you can apply, that is a full stop, you can apply. But if you're single, it's okay. That's not so much of a problem. But as for a married woman, the consent of your husband and the family is very important for you to make sure that the journey of the fellowship or anything will run very smoothly.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Zaiton, for your views. So family inclusivity is very important. Okay, I'll take note of that. Okay, so what about you, Dr. Izzati? What has it been smooth sailing for you?
So I agreed with Prof. Zaiton on the fact that it was actually easy during the application process. For me, both of that fellowship was very straightforward application. It was the first time I applied and I got it, so the application was not a problem to me. But as the Prof. Zaiton mentioned, what comes after that? I mean, after you have got the fellowship, so what should we do? And of course, like the family concern, and then of course another most important thing is the regulations, because we are bound with the institutional regulations. So for example, like I do admit that for the ASEAN-India fellowship, when I applied for that, I did not understand very well about the regulations set up by UTM at that time. But then after that, then I learned there are some regulations that we are really bounded to. So so the only barrier was like, what's after that? So then we have to make arrangements, like we have to talk with the department, with the director of the department, and then with the dean, and with all members actually. Because when I was in India for the fellowship, I definitely asked some of my colleagues to do some of my tasks here, because I was there. Although most at the time it was semester break, but during that semester break we had some online training. So some of my other colleagues, like Dr. Raihana, she was helping me with the free activity, for example, and then Dr. Sita Paulina, she was also working, helping me with the free. And then some other people who are in my research group, they were also helping me out during my time in India. So what after that was really, really important. And then apparently when I was in India, I had to be in India during during the first week of the semester. So during that time, then I had to ask help from Dr. Siti Halima to help out with the lab schedule, for example. So what after that is the more, I would say what after that is the critical one, because the arrangement was not easy, because a lot of people involved when you are not around, not just the family, but also the colleague as well. So these are all the significant barrier. But again, if you can manage, like if we manage everything, then I think everything should be fine. And obviously, I think other than that, another significant barrier is time, because definitely I would say everyone would agree that time is the main limitation to everyone. Like, we never have enough time to finish everything in a day. So, but to be honest, based on my own experience when I was in Thailand as well as in India, I felt like the time was very, very slow. The time was moving very slow, that I can finish a lot of things. Even when I was in India, I mean, obviously we have 24 hours per day, right? Everywhere. But to my surprise, when I was in Thailand and when I was in India, I felt that the time was moving very, very slow, that I can finish many things. In fact, I had a lot of, I had a lot of time to think about when is the dinner coming. But when I'm back in Malaysia, like, I feel like I just don't have enough time to finish many things in a day. So you see, like, I'm not sure, maybe, like, but I always told myself that in Malaysia it's kind of different, because we are moving a lot and we have to move, to the classes, to the lab, to the, meeting the students and all these kind of things. So, but again, I believe everyone would think that the timing is the most limitation that we have in any way. All right.
Okay,
That's
thank you, Dr. Izzati. So maybe we should really study how the time is faster in Malaysia, but not so much in India and Thailand, huh? Okay, so my next question, okay? So I would like to ask Professor Zaiton and Dr. Aemi, what do you think is the most dangerous behavior or trait that you have seen derail a women scientist's career? Prof. Zaiton, would you like to start?
Okay, Sheila. Well, I think for women scientists' career, things them is actually lacking courage. Just now we've heard like two of our panelists, yes, Yuyi and Izzati mentioned that, they are not the type of person who are extrovert, but when you are not when you are lacking courage, you're afraid to go out of your comfort zone, you are being complacent, that can actually derail your career in science. Now, the Lise minor guest professorship was actually developed or started because they found that not many women with PhD is retained academics. So they want to make sure that women stay in academics and that these women scientists, goes through their career. Yeah? So they formed the Lise minor guest professorship to actually also encourage women scientists, teachers, students to be in the academics. Yeah. So for us women, I think most often sometimes we hear that once you get married, yeah, these some of the women scientists or like lecturers, they sort of slow down. Of course, I don't see that in Faculty of Science. Alhamdulillah, they slow down. Yeah. So because they say that, well, I have too much work to do, I don't have enough time. All of us have 24 hours. They say I have to take care of the children, I have to take care of this and that. Plan your time. I mean, you have to really sort of plan your time. You're given 24 hours. Don't let your kids, your husband, your household, everything distract you from your career. You have to enjoy your career and you have to be courageous enough to go out and do new things. That is why I think at 52 years old, I still think that I need to go out just for a change, because you need to enjoy, even though I have only 8 years left in my career at that time, you need to go out and enjoy your life as an academics. You need to get out of the comfort zone. You need to be able to collaborate with people outside your comfort zone. If women say that, Allah, I don't feel I can do it. I'm too, timid. Then it's the end of you in whatever career it is, Try something new. Challenge yourself. Can I do it? If these people can do it, why can't I do it? Challenge yourself. Then I think you'll be back in the right track. Be with friends who are very positive, who have positive vibes. Or meet people who said, never mind, like you already an associate professor, never mind. You don't have to do anything. No, no, no. Get in groups which have positive vibes, who are very active in research, in doing academics, or even get with friends who have good taste for shopping, just for the sake of it, just to get out sometimes, go shopping, go and eat out something nice, and then come back to work. So get out of your comfort zone, be more courageous, do things which you challenge yourself. So then I think you can maintain yourself in that whatever career they do, in this particular case, in their scientific career.
So thank you, Professor Zaiton, for being complacent. A very dangerous thing that we all tend to fall into time to time. Okay, so what about you, Dr. Amy? Do you have any thoughts on that?
So I'm just adding up with what Prof. Zaiton mentioned about it just now. Uh, for me, I think from what I see from myself and also some other people that I talk to, the most dangerous trait is not to try at all. That's the most dangerous trait. The reason already elaborated by Prof. Zaiton is it's just that your mind is your own enemy at that time by not trying at all. So when you are not trying, you are not taking care of yourself in terms of going out, just like Prof mentioned just now, and also from there the domino effect is you are not refreshing your mind, and also you are not gaining any sustainable connection and everything. The second thing that I think is to not having lifelong learning trait, meaning that okay, that's all, I'm doing chemistry, I'm going to do chemistry until I retire. But when you don't have any other traits, any other hobby, for example, or learning something new, for example, I'm honestly speaking now, I'm learning biology, because from the first time during my undergrads, I love biology. So now I'm having taking open courseware with the MIT on learning biology, just for my learning knowledge skill. And I think women and men should have that kind of trait. Okay, to learn about it. Okay, by not having it is actually quite dangerous, because the world is now moving really fast. You have to collaborate with everyone and you have to catch up.
So thank you, Dr. Lee, especially
Can I add to that? Can I add to that? Yeah. So another thing that I think that derail women is that we are afraid of rejections. So it's because definitely all the awards and fellowships are very, very competitive, and so which to receive rejections, like because for example I applied to L'Oreal Women Fellowship as well, and I got rejections. So most of women, I mean not just women, I would say even the men would of course afraid of rejections. So I think having that kind of thought, afraid of rejections, is another issue that everyone shouldn't have that kind of thought, because otherwise that would definitely put a setbacks to everyone. Because in any way, like some people got rejections of marriage proposals. So what is rejections of papers? What is rejections of fellowships or awards applications? You see, it's nothing. So that's the key, I would say. All right, thank you. Back to you, Sheila.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Izzati. A lot of good points mentioned by Dr. Amy, Dr. Izzati, even Prof. Zaiton. Okay, I especially love the lifelong learning part, not something that we teach our student only. We ourselves must also, follow it. Okay, so I'm sure throughout the fellowship or when you receive the award, it has not been easy. So Dr. Sui and Dr. Izzati, did you face any difficulties or setbacks while you were on the fellowship or when you got the award? And have you ever been so discouraged that you wanted to quit? Dr. Sui, would you like to start?
Actually, I also made a lot of trials before I got this fellowship. I actually applied for 6 times only I got it. So since 6 times. Actually, since I started my career, I started to look for this kind of opportunity, and I learned about this L'Oreal Fellowship. I already start applying almost every year, except the year that they set a specific team on that, which I'm not eligible, and that was the only exception that I didn't try. So I also know the feeling of getting rejected every time. And not just for this, also for the grant application. Not every time we apply the grant we get it. We also get a lot of rejection a lot of time. I think we just have to be persistent and never afraid of failure. Yeah, that is the main thing. As for the difficulty when I got the award, as I think the only setbacks was when we got the announcement about this award. It was February this year, which the Malaysia hasn't really entered fully to the endemic stage. So we have limited access actually to the to the media session as compared to the previous winners. I think that was the only setback when I got this award. But I'm grateful that the organizer was very thoughtful. So when the country slowly open back to the normal, resume back to the normal activities, they just recently organized the ceremony and gather all the winners that's been affected by the pandemic from 2020 to 2022, and so we actually get a very special session, because the more the merrier. We kind of enjoy the session together with the other 2 years of winners.
Thank you, Dr. Sue. So very inspiring to know that even after 5 rejection, you still persevered on, and on the 6th attempt, you've succeeded. Very happy for you. So Dr. Izzati, what about you?
So I mean, when I was doing the fellowship, everything was fine. For example, like, so I never felt like I wanted to quit during the fellowship. The only time that I felt I really wanted to quit, or feel very demotivated, was during the COVID-19, when I really felt that my research is not going anywhere. So I was really about to quit, advancing my research activities. It was something like really affected me during the COVID-19, like especially during the lockdown. I was so worried about my cyanobacterial living cultures in the lab, because they are living cultures. We don't have any stocks in the fridge, and then students cannot go to the lab, and then and then we got constant shortcut in the building. I mean, electrical shortcut in the building. So everything was in the incubator. So it was worrying me so much during the COVID lockdown. And that was the time in my life that I felt like I really wanted to quit. Like, it was very, very difficult. And then I am a person who, although I'm not active in social media, but I really cannot work at home. I cannot do a lot of works at home. Home to me is where I rest. So I would never can do a lot of things done at home. So I really have to work somewhere, either at my office or in the cafe. So, but during the lockdown, I cannot go anywhere. So I have to, like, it was very, very difficult for the first month. And then the second month, I kind of like adjusted to the situation, and then the third month it was okay, and then we were allowed to come to the office. Then I think I was the only person that my director had to approve my applications to go to the office almost every week, I think, during that time. I'm so sorry to my director that she has to do that, but anyway. So all right, so that was the only time that I felt that I really wanted to quit my research career. It was very difficult, and I cannot write anything at home, because home to me, as I said, is not an office. It was very difficult. I cannot concentrate. But anyway, I survived the COVID situation. And then when I was during the fellowship, just to share with everyone, the one that I went to Thailand under APEC, it was superb because it was organized by APEC. Yeah, so all the food was super duper yummy, delicious. So we were very taken care of, and the hospitality was superb when I was in APEC Thailand. But when I was in India, the difficulty was, but not to the extent that I felt that I wanted to quit. It was still fine, but the difficulty was, no one wanted to accept my debit card or credit card. It's basically, yeah. So the thing with Indian Bank of India is that they only can accept their cards. So which means, regardless how much money you have in Malaysia, you cannot use it. I mean, you cannot transfer. So I don't have any bank to transfer, and no one can accept my card. So it was very difficult. I was mainly just surviving on cash money at that time, that I brought from Malaysia, just 1,000 ringgit for 2 months. But that was the only thing that I can do. And I think it was very challenging to me, and that was the first time in my life that I learned um, that Malaysian bank cards are not are not acceptable in a certain country. That was the first time, because if you travel to any European countries, I think, or even in the UK, for example, and I think even in the US, all the banks there would accept Malaysian bank cards. So yeah, so that's the only a little challenge that I had when I was in India. But in Thailand, everything was superb because it was organized by APEC and they have to show that everything is good. Yeah.
Okay. I'm very sorry to hear what you went through. We wouldn't have known that. So it's actually a precautionary tale for all of us. The next time, if you want to visit India, to get
So,
ready with
yeah,
cash.
ready with the cash. Ready with the cash if you travel to India.
Okay, so thank you very much, Izzati. So at this time, let's go on a brief intermission to take one question from the audience who has been sent to me privately. So this is an opinion question that he wants to ask ask all the panelists. So in local universities and colleges, women make up to 62% of the enrollment, but are absent from many leadership or decision-making position, even though various policy has been enacted by the government. Globally, women make up to only 33% of all researchers, with only 22 women having been awarded a Nobel Prize in a scientific discipline to date. The Nobel Prize in Physics is a good example. There have been 211 male award winners, but only 4 women. So, panelists, what are your thoughts on this?
So what is the main question just now, Dr. Sheila? Because there's a little bit.
Okay, so I think what they wanted to ask is, what are your opinions on it? Is why is it that even after all this, let's say all this encouragement, all these policies to allow women to be more out there, yet the number of researchers, the number of Nobel laureate is still very low from women. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you agree that it's really our women's fault, or what do you think is the reason behind it? Maybe you can just give your opinions on this.
Dr. Zaiton, you are muted.
Okay. Actually, the Lisa Meitner is actually a potential Nobel Prize winner. Actually, she did a research on nuclear fission together with Otto Hahn, but Otto Hahn got the Nobel Prize, but not her, just because she's a woman. That is why one of the reasons why this professorship was created based on Lisa Meitner, because the fact that she rightfully could have become a Nobel Prize winner, but she did not, because she was in a male-dominated field at that time. She was the pioneer in the male-dominated field when she began her research way back in 1910. She was actually explaining on nuclear fission, but then she did not get the Nobel Prize for that. So I think, and in fact, she was only allowed to be a member of the Austrian Science Academy, the first woman to be allowed in the Science Academy, I think in 19 something, because the academy started 1846, and it was only in 19 something that she was allowed to be a member, the first woman to be allowed to be a member in the Austrian Science Academy. So I think there's still a notion, maybe in Malaysia not so much, I think there's still a notion that it's a male dominated field, there's still a notion perhaps in that. In terms of leadership, as what the person asked us now, if you look around here in UTM, of course, we have women leaders and male leaders, but still, I think also in other universities, they actually look for merits. Yeah? They do not go for gender, they look for merits. If you're qualified enough, you can become one of the leaders. If you notice, we have actually 4 female deans so far. I mean, for AHIPS, FSSH previously, and now changed to Prof Arif, Fabu, myself, and then SPS, So it's based on merits. So I don't think there's any, in terms of, in Malaysia, I don't think it's about gender inequality. It's based more on merits. Yeah. So when I went to Sweden, there was a seminar on gender inequality, and they asked me about Malaysia. So I told them, in our country, promotion, I think, is based on merit. As you see in UTM, if you, if you qualified to be a professor or associate professor, then you'll get it. Once you apply, you get it. There's no such thing as a quota for how many percent women and men. And they were quite surprised actually. And they were quite surprised that, you know, when I mentioned to them, we have professors, how many women professors in UTM, how many associate professors, women in UTM, they were quite surprised actually. So we, in that sense, is more advanced, in my opinion, compared to some other countries.
I would like to echo on Prof. Zaiton's point about that. Actually, the gender issue in Malaysia is very not obvious at all, especially in science career. We can see a lot of female figures in the leadership position, like Prof. Zaiton is an example. And our university CEO, Prof. Sarah Metcalf, is also female. Yeah, and we also have a previous female CEO before, Christina New. And apart from that, like the ASM chair, Dr. Asma, we also have quite a lot, like YSN chair, Chai is also female. So I think it's really based on merits instead of gender issue. As in why this kind of statistic figure is more common, is actually very obvious, because I think this not just applied in science, it's actually across all the other careers. And it's generally known as the pipeline leakage. It's a general issue that because many females, as they progress in their career, they have more and more commitment, like the caregiver, because in many examples, females are still the primary caregivers in the family. So eventually, some of them just slowly quit from the career to take care of the families. So it's not just about science; it's actually in many other careers. Yeah.
Thank you, that's sweet. Okay, so moving on. So thank you, panelists, once again, and also thank you to the member of the audience who asked that question. I hope that answer your question. I mean, the views that you want. So for the rest of the audience, do not hesitate to ask your questions or even share your views in our discussion today. As best we can, we would like to have a healthy discussion and exchange of ideas. So speaking of ideas, what are the things that employers, especially in science field, can do to encourage and empower women to go for this fellowship and awards? What needs to be changed? So as the Dean of the Faculty and my boss, perhaps Professor Zaiton can share your opinion on this.
Thank you, Sheila. What we are doing now is currently trying to encourage the female staff, Faculty of Science, female staff out there, and also the audience who might not be from Faculty of Science, to go out, look for these awards. As women, we have to be much, be more outgoing in the sense of getting these awards. It's very important for us to be way ahead of our counterpart, of the male counterpart, actually, in research. I am very happy when Sheila got the award, Aemi got the award, Izzati got the award. And I discussed with Dr. Firdaus, our Assistant Dean for Excellent Global Enrichment. Firdaus, when these awards come, you have to force these people to apply. Send the email, force them, tell them that they didn't force you to apply. Because I want you to get all these awards at a very young age, not at 52 years old. But of course, the Lise Meitner is more for associate professors and professors, So go out, because this is a chance for you to have a diverse networking. Go out for a change, maybe short term, 3 months, or maybe 1 month. So you have to go out, because we at the Faculty of Science always support. We always tell the staff, if you want to apply, make sure you arrange your time. For example, as Izzati mentioned, she has a colleague to help out. Next time her colleague apply for an award and they go, Izzati helps out. Or you apply during semester break so that your pengarah will not be mad, apply during semester break. All this has to be planned. And inshallah, together with Dr. Firdaus, we'll go all out, to look at more for awards so that more of our female staff, the female need to go out. Just bring your family, your kids, and do your work in the lab, and they can do their shopping or touring, and you do your work in the lab. Once in a while, you go out with them, when you are overseas. When I was in Sweden, during the summertime, they said, Zaiton, in the summertime, the lab is closed. Don't come to the lab. We close our lab. I said, but I want to do my work. No, you go out and do your summer holiday. So my family came and we, did a tour of Europe and so on. So it was fun. You have the family time. At the same time, you get to know, you get to do the lab work. You learn a lot of new things, a lot of new things which you cannot get during that 9 months in Malaysia. So you need to go out. Ladies, go out. Even though you're married, make good, what you say, good pact with husband, buat janji. Okay, I'm going out for 3 months. If I cannot bring the kids, you take care of the kids. Next time you go out, I'll take care of the kids. Be in good terms with your family, with your friends. They'll be around to help you. So we very much encourage, Dr. Sheila at the Faculty of Science, we very much encourage together with Dr. Fidos, we are going all out for this to ensure that our female staff go out for all these awards, so that they can become better academic for them to share with their students. Why do we go out? We need to share all this experience with our students. So our students will be more open, they just say, okay, Sheila went to Lindau, Aemi went to Australia, Izzati went to here, Zaiton went to here, and a few more of the male. Of course, they may also have their awards, yeah, Sheila. So our students will benefit from all this, not only us, inshallah.
Okay, so thank you very much, Prof. Zaiton. Glad to know that our faculty is taking a very aggressive approach to combating this. So, Dr. Sui, would you like to add anything on this?
Sorry, can you repeat your question again?
So, what are the things that employers, especially in science field, can do to encourage and empower women to go for this fellowship and award? What needs to be changed? Since you are from another university, so it would be very good to hear your point of view on this.
I say just now for this Laureate Award, I actually applied for 6 times, and one of the criteria during the application is we have to get the reference letter. And imagine every year I have to beg my referees to provide the letter. I think it's very awkward because appeal again, can you please support me again this year? But I'm very grateful that they're very supportive. So it's very important to get the support from your mentors. And at the same time, I think the peer support is also very important. Apart from the support from the upline position like your managers and also your head, the peer support is also very important. Like for example, for this Laureate Award, there are a lot of sharing sessions given before, and the previous winners they are very generous to share the tips. I think the tips and also the advice is very helpful because there are many insight advice that is probably not available on the application, but it's definitely very helpful during the application. So I think the peer support is very important.
Okay. So yes, so looks like support from all stages is very essential here. Okay, so a question that I would really like to know is something that I'm struggling with, and I'm sure I'm not alone. In fact, this is also similar to the question by a member of the audience, Farina. Okay, so how do you balance your career, personal life, and passions? Or is there such a thing as balance? Dr. Izzati, would you like to start?
Right, so I would say it's definitely challenging if I talk from the perspective of a general woman. So definitely I believe it is very challenging to have that balance between career and personal life. But then to be honest, I when I was in Thailand, someone said this word to me. I mean this sentence to me. So she said that if you are below 40, it's the time where you should develop as much connection as possible because a lot of fellowships and awards are being given to those below 40. So I mean, like if you imagine if we are based on that friend sentence to me or advice to me, so imagine like maybe we have another less than 10 years before we reach 40. So I would say it's really a good advice to work hard and then get that thing before the 40. I mean, try to develop that many connections before we turn 40, for example, because I believe most of the participants here, we are all young women scientists who are below 40. But of course, Prof. Zaiton is a champion for, at that age, still able to go outside and got the fellowship, which is obviously very good. So the friend of mine was saying that to me, and then since that day, then I realized that, oh, okay, I have many years to go. Well, I mean, I'm quite young. That's the point. So I mean, so I still have a few years to go until I reach 40. So then I was thinking, okay, let's work hard and then try to get a lot of things being done before that 40. And after the 40, then maybe we can, slow down a little bit and then do something else, for example. And then in terms of balance, I don't know about others, but then, I mean, I also spoke to other people who are very successful. For example, like on just recently on Sunday, I spoke to Associate Professor Dr. Roswanira, then I asked her like how she managed everything, and then she said, work hard. So every time when I talk to someone who are very successful, then they would always, the answer is work hard. So then I think the key point is work hard, of course, work hard, because with that work hard, then it comes other things after that. And then, of course, you know, apart from working hard, the second thing, I mean, which is the important thing, is taking care of your health. Healthiness is very, very important, because when you are healthy, then definitely you are happy. So health in terms of, you know, body health as well as mental health, because it's definitely, you know, our academic job is definitely very, very demanding. So I mean, if you ask me how to stay healthy, well, I'm not a good person who would give advice, but a little thing that I could say is that stay positive. A very wise person once told me that every day, everything has to be positive, regardless you got rejections or regardless things didn't go to your, I mean, to the way you wanted it to be, just stay positive. Always just stay positive, regardless of whatever. Even like if you are in the traffic jam, for example, just stay positive. So, I mean, I at first I didn't believe that person when that person told me stay positive. I didn't believe at all. For many years, I never believed until right before I was about to go to Thailand. I was super busy at that time, because at that time it was I think I had to submit a corrections for a paper, and then I had to submit a book to the UTM penerbit, and then at the same time, I think it was the time when UTM announced for a grant application. Due date was very soon at the time. And then I was supposed to go to India 2 weeks after I came back from Thailand, APEC. So, and then to go to India, I had to get my visa done. So it was very haywire, everything. And then, so by being positive, you know, then I just kept telling myself, like, calm down, take everything one at a time and stay positive. And then apparently after so many years at this age, then I realized that how true that God always put things at the right time for the right person at the right place. So I never I mean, you know, it's common, right? We listen to this kind of advice, but only at this age that I realized that really is true. I mean, it was, I mean, like, yeah, seriously. I mean, I take things very positively. I say to myself, just be positive regardless of whatever. And then surprisingly, everything turns out to be at the right time, at the right place, to the right person. So, you know, if you ask me if there is balance, yes, there should be a balance. But before you get the balance, first you put yourself in a balance first. Yeah, okay. And then of course, like if you ask me, do I work until 1 a.m.? I cannot work until 1 a.m. Like some people work, like even Dr. Sheila worked until 2 a.m. this morning just to get this thing sorted out. Yeah, so I cannot work past 12. If I worked past 12, it means I was not going to sleep at all. So I never worked past 12 a.m. in the morning. So, but then of course, because I know I'm a very early sleeper, so I slept at 10 or 11, and then, but most of the time I work until Friday, which means like, you know, a Sunday until Friday. So, but of course, you know, you find the balance by yourself. But yeah, that's my take on this.
Okay. Thank you very much, Izzati. So the next time I'm stuck in a traffic jam, I'll remember your words, your friends' word actually, to stay positive. I hope I can do that. So how about if I direct this same question to someone who recently officially retired, Professor Zaiton? So what are your thoughts on this?
On the balance, career, personal life balance, yeah. Well, actually, Dr. Izzati puts it very nicely. Yeah, you have to be positive. Now, when I was very young, my husband was working in Kuala Lumpur, and I have to manage the kids. it seems like life is always, you are juggling between your kids, your classes, you know, imagine your class is at 8 o'clock and here you have your baby, you have to send your baby to babysitter and it's just like, Kak, ambil budak ni and I have to go to my class, you know. But then when you think about it, actually, the very most important thing is that you have to understand what is the purpose of life, actually. You have to be, as a Muslim, you have to be very close to Allah SWT. What is the purpose of life? And as Dr. Izzati puts in, everything which happens has a purpose. It is a training ground for us. Juggling, maybe during when in your younger days, yeah, you are juggling. There's a purpose actually for you. It is actually a training ground, and you actually have to be have to sort of really acknowledge the people around you. You have your husband, you have your children, you have your friends, and of course your work. How do you make sure that everybody is being attended to well? They get their time. Your work, you have to work from 8 to 5. Your students, your husband, your children, and your own time. You yourself actually know how much to spend and how to spend. But all these have got to be given attention. You cannot spend more time. You say, for example, I have to spend a lot of time writing papers, doing research, my student, and children, please take care of yourself. That's a no-no. Then you're not being justifiable to your children. You have to make sure that all of the people whom you are accountable to, your children, your parents, if you still have parents, your friends, your colleague, everybody has been attended to with a certain degree of time. It's not like a balance 50%, 20%, no, but you know actually how to do it. Otherwise, you'll find yourself stuck and you feel very stressed. Now, in my opinion, so far, I think the best way to go out of stress is to have good friends. Once you have good friends around you, for example, during our time, during our younger time, Sheila, the bilik activity kimia was a place for us to let out the stress, 10 o'clock, 9 to 10 o'clock, let's have coffee. Similar thing, when I was in Sweden, I was working in 10 a.m. and they said, Zaiton, it's 10 a.m., it's fika time, don't work 10 a.m., 10 to 10:30, you have to be in the coffee room. I said, I have to do some work. No. They forced me to go out. And 3 to 3:30, Zaiton, is fika time. You don't work in the lab between 3 to 3:30. Nobody works in the lab between 3 to 3:30. So it's like, if they pass by your lab and they see you in the lab between 3 to 3:30 or 10 to 10:30, then you say, something's wrong with this woman, So you have to have that, your time, the people time. Your friends expect you to be at the coffee room between 9 to 9:30. Acknowledge them, talk to them and your students. That's how you actually enjoy your work, because you cannot separate work from your own life. I don't see a separation there. When I go back home, of course, I say, okay, I work from 8 to 5, but when I won't get home, sometimes I do have to do my work, and the kids understand me. But at the same time, I do attend to them. Sometimes Noha says, okay, I need to go to tea life at 8 o'clock at night. I say, okay, we'll go to tea life. I need to go to Starbucks. I say, can you get Food Panda? She said she need to go there. We still attend to her, no matter how tired we are, because we have to make people around us happy. By doing so, by making people happy, we will be happy actually. So believe me, if you make people happy, you as well will be happy, be very self-satisfied. And at the end of the day, you find that I have helped so many people, and I hope that Allah SWT will also help me. It's not that we want something in return, but I said, hopefully the good deeds you do will come back to you, and things will come naturally. And that is why sometimes, when we think about it, Alhamdulillah, we have good friends. Over here, we meet Suji, our alumni, Izzati, Aemi getting award, Sheila getting award, and so on, and the others getting more awards. We have a good discussion here. And that is the positivity that we want to create in our group here, in Faculty of Science or in UTM. So enjoy, and then when you are really bored, go shopping, window shopping, get a good book and go and get a good book, read a good book, get a cup of coffee, some cookies, and just get a good book and read. Just enjoy life. Don't be too stressed, Inshallah.
Okay, thank you, Zaiton and also Dr. Zaiton. Those are some wonderful pointers. I'm sure we can all apply in our daily life. And I hope that fika time can be a practice in our faculty maybe soon.
Yeah, soon.
That sounds really good. Or the Starbucks time. Okay, so actually the second part to our member of the audience question, Safarina, is actually something that Prof. Zaiton has touched before. She would like to know, what is the favorite activity to unwind from a busy schedule, our panelists? So what did you do? What did you do? What do you do in order to unwind? Dr. Amy, would you like to start?
Sorry.
Uh,
The question from the audience, is it?
as it is. What do you do in your free time? What do you do to relax?
Okay. I'm giving a cliche answer. It's all about the family because I have my kids later in life at the age of 30 after been married for 6 years. So basically, spending time with them are really valuable time for me because I know how hard I we are working on getting them. So that's a cliche one to answer that. It's really playing with the kids. But of course, when you most of the time with the kids also is not really enjoyable at certain parts. Okay, so to balance that as well, so I always go for a coffee, of course, on my own without anybody, not even with my husband, on my own. After 3:30, almost every Thursday. So that's my ritual actually. A weekend, just to treat myself and also to take care of myself. Because just now I start with saying that having this fellowship, mobility grant is also taking care of myself because at that time it's my passion on doing things outside research outside, and I think that works for me.
Okay, some me time sounds good. Okay.
Yes,
So what
3:30 Thursday you will not see me sometimes.
okay. Well, for everyone's information, Dr. Amy is just 2 doors next to me. So every day 3:30, I'm sure you will be around, huh? Okay, I'll see whether the pattern is there or not. Okay.
Yeah, most of the time you will find it. You will find me in IKEA.
In
Yeah,
IKEA.
I'll be
Oh,
there
that's
3:30.
okay. It's a very good hobby. See? So what about you, Dr. Sui? What do you do to unwind?
Actually, a bit similar like Dr. Aemi after I have kid. It's very because don't have much time after having the young kid. My daughter is not even 2 years old yet, so need a lot of attention. So when I'm free, I can only play with her. But before I have her, my free time is very to really relax, not thinking of anything. So I watch drama actually, Netflix drama. Yeah, but after that, after having my daughter, my free time after I put her to bed is to listen to music, drink, have supper, to relax. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good too. What about you, Dr. Izzati?
I have cafe day, what I call it, cafe day every Friday. So
Okay.
Friday is a cafe day, which means, I go to any cafe, of course, to have coffee or cakes, but it has to be on Friday, cafe day. So either if I have to do urgent tasks, then I'll do it at the cafe on Friday. I get it done by 12. And then if I don't have anything to, any deadlines approaching very soon, so during that cafe day, I'll just read because I love to read books. So I'll read books during that cafe day every Friday. So that's what I'll do. So most of the time, I will not reply to anything during my cafe day. Yeah, that's what I do.
Well, that sounds wonderful. And I'll put a better note to not message you on Friday. Okay. So, Prof. Zaiton, do you want to add anything other than shopping?
Okay, yeah, all right. When I was very young, Sheila, the most enjoyable thing, when that I would like to do, yeah, of course, having coffee and books. I would read any Sydney Sheldon book, which is the new Sydney Sheldon book, and then Mish album, I read that. But then when things get a bit, when the kids are growing, they need more attention. I shifted to gardening. I enjoy gardening, doing a bit of gardening and so on. But still now I'm reading more serious book. Like currently I'm reading the work-life balance book actually, suggested by Professor Wahid. I haven't finished reading it. But I think as we grow older, sometimes our me time changes. But I still love coffee and cookies. When I need to just relax, just take a cup of coffee and cookies and then just sit on my own and just relax. Relax. Maybe get something a light book to read. But if things are like I need to go out, I do gardening because it's nice to see the plants growing and so on. Other than that, I think we as women, we have to take care of our health, like Izzati says. Once you are married, you're all very young. At age of 60 like this, we try to hopefully that we stay healthy from our young age until the age, until 60 and pass over. Because once you're not healthy, that will deter your career path or any other work that you do with your family. So no matter how you juggle in life, take care of your health. If you are dead, people just take your word. Nobody will just. we have read people dying at the office and so on. So no matter how important your work is, take care of your health, and your family can make you happy. Actually, when you give something to your family, you play with your children, like Aemi did, as you did again, it makes you feel happy because you are already giving your time to them. you know so don't feel so stressed about the work. Work is work, but then when you give more to people, especially your family, the thing will get more, more be coming to you. This is my advice as an older woman lah, sometimes people ask me, why do you take a very long time to go to associate professor? Because I have my responsibility as a mother and a mother and a wife. Because I already have a job. My kids doesn't have a job. They are still studying. I need to make sure that they study well. At least they go into university. Then I take care of my career. I have to do that. That's why I took a long time to get the associate professorship and professorship, because they are more important. I don't want them to be neglected because I want to rush for my career. I want to rush for early associate professor, early professor. The children needs my time. Now, Alhamdulillah, my children are doing okay, except for Nuha. She's still in Form 4. Alhamdulillah, okay. And then, okay, I'll start, doing things which I can concentrate more. I get this, more work done, get more involved with the STEM program and so on. Because we have to know our priority. The children needs us for their well-being, for their growth. So we cannot be so selfish on our work alone. The family is very important, especially we women. And husband cannot be neglected. All right. That's all from somebody very senior.
Okay, so thank you very much, Zaiton. Okay, so thank you very much, Mrs. Safarina, for your question. I hope the panelists answered all what you want. Okay, so
Sheila,
yes, please.
can I add just something on based on my
Sure.
experience on that? Because the topic of balancing career, personal life, and passion actually is very subjective, and also I think this is applicable to everyone. Everyone wants to know, is there any balance at all? When I applied for that fellowship, the second very important thing in my mind at that time is my goal is to make sure that my first daughter, get to experience the schooling system there. So that's my second goal, other than my networking and also research career. So when I get that, it really satisfies me, and I believe because of thinking like that, thinking like it's not only for me, it's for my family, and that at that time is really a totally tawakal. If this is good for me and my family, please give me this fellowship. I ask Allah, and it just come into places just nicely. I think it's a very important thing to have for other women and also men, to have it inside in your mind when you are thinking about different people, other people in your support system. I think it's really helping you to get what you want, because it's related to what Dr. Zaiton said, that when you are happy, you are able to make somebody else happy, and when they are happy, you are happy. It's just like the cycle is there, and having family support, having good support system is very important. Tak kisah is coming from your friends or your family or your husband, even your neighbors. Because when I went to Australia, my neighbors are really my support system in terms of make sure that the whole house compound is safe. So it's really like taking the whole village to get things right. That was what I want to add.
Sheila, can I add something with respect to
Sure,
what
sure.
Amy said?
Go on.
When I went there, Noha, my daughter was 8 years old, and that was also one reason, Amy. She had experienced international school at Lund for 9 months. Noha was really a shy person. She wouldn't even speak in school. Her English was not good. So we met the teachers, and after 1 year, she could just speak English very well, and she really blended well. And then Noha was wearing a headscarf. My husband was a bit, worried that her friends could not accept her wearing a headscarf. So I told her, Noha, you're a Muslim. If you have to wear a headscarf, then wear the headscarf. If your friends ask you, then tell them I'm a Muslim. And her friends are, they're okay. The only thing I think there was one guy. I said, Nuha, can we look at your hair? And then they went to the toilet and look at their hair. No, a girl, sorry, not girl. One girl. So she said, she asked me about her hair. So we went to the toilet and I showed her my hair. And she said, oh, it was a nice hair. I said, it's okay, Nuha. They are just, children. And she mixed very well with, and she was able to speak. And experiencing the schooling system, international school, was a good experience for her. When she came back, she was more open. She was not timid anymore. She was open. And I think, yes, what Amy said, I also wanted Nuha to experience international school, even though we have to pay, but I think it was a good decision for us to make. Yeah.
Prof. Zaiton, you and Nuha are my what I'm thinking about at that time. I want to be like Prof. Zaiton and Nuha at that time. So I want to bring Mariam to Australia to have that 3 months of schooling over there, even though we have to pay for 3,000 ringgit just for a few weeks. So
Yeah,
it's really inspiring
That's
when
good,
you
inspiring.
had it with
Look, she
Nuha.
experienced Halloween, she made all those Halloween stuff, giving to the community and so on. And she experienced a lot of things during that. She made gingerbread man cookies during Christmas. She experienced these some of the festivals that they have in Lund during Christmas. And it was a good experience for her. I wanted to see the world because she's in a religious school, Sekolah Menengah Hidayah. So I wanted to go out and something new so that she'll be better open.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aemi, Prof. Zaiton. Hearing that makes me want to do the same also when I have kids, eventually, hopefully.
Inshallah,
Okay.
inshallah.
So, okay, speaking of support system, something that Dr. Aemi also, Prof. Zaiton, all of you touched actually. So, support system is very important. So, there's this question, we have this question from the audience, which privately messaged to me. So, she would like to know, so what if your partner does not support your career path? Maybe because of different career background, or maybe he or she doesn't understand what we are going through. So what should be the priority? So this is her question. Would anyone like to tackle this question? For example,
Honestly speaking, Sheila, I don't have any answer for that because yeah, things is the other side for me. Because yeah, I don't have any answers for that. I want to give tips, but I don't have any at the moment.
I think most of us I've had of our husbands, Yuji's, Amy and myself, I think they're very supportive, right? So we don't have any issues. But I think sometimes, maybe this is my opinion as a senior person. When you spend too much time at work and neglecting your husband, then the husband become quite a bit irritable. You have to manage. His time is also is as much as important as your work. He's your husband. The kids are your children. So try to if your husband insists that you just fix your time 8 to 5, just 8 to 5. When you go back to work, just do whatever you need for the house. Don't touch anything about work if that is what he wants. Then you'll be more amicable. The situation will be more amicable. You have to learn what your husband likes, what your partner likes. Because no point arguing when you want to concentrate on, I want to get my associate professor very fast. I want to publish 10 Q1 papers per year when you don't have a good relationship. No point because you want to have a happy life. Work balance, happy life, work-life balance, you want happy life. Imagine you get so many publication Q1, but then your husband's not happy. What's the point? Once if you pass away, people just remember you as you publish 100 Q1 papers. But the husband are the ones going to manage your corpse and everything, The children remember you, but the rest, you're just part of the faculty science or faculty of whatever history, publishing 100 Q1 papers. But the family is very important. For the young one, irrespective of whatever you want to chase your goal, manage your husband, your family well, then inshallah things will come. As Izzati says, things will come at the right time, at the moment when you are ready. Everything else is experience. I took a long time juggling with the kids, and alhamdulillah, it has helped me to become a more resilient person, alhamdulillah, And my husband has been very supportive. Of course, orang kata lidah lagi tergigit kan. Apa lagi kan lidah lagi tergigit whatever the Malay says, but of course, when you try to manage things well, then your husband can understand your work. Explain to your husband, I need to do this and so on. Then they will understand, inshallah, I think, right from the start.
Okay, thank you, President. Dr. Sui, would you like to add anything to that? Or do you also have a very supportive husband?
My husband was also the alumni of UTM, but he changed his career path totally to a different sector. But he is very supportive because he kind of deep down he know how busy it is to be a scientist and also an academic. Like recently I went for the Rory Award, even just a simple award for a few hours, but because it's in the city and we have to travel there. But my husband purposely take a day off just to take care of my daughter so that we can all attend as a family. So I think the support from the family is very important so that it can keep us, motivate and pursue in our career.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Syuli.
Can I add something? I always add
Okay.
something. Having supportive husband is not really like a free lunch, of course. You have to make a pact, of course, just like what Prof Zaiton just now. Now you take care of the kids, later it's my turn to take care of the kids when you go somewhere. So that's what's happening with me. During the APEC fellowship, I say that, can I go again? Five to within these 5 years, or after 5 years, can I go again to this and bring the whole family members? Yes, you can, but within these 5 years, you have to sacrifice as well to make sure his company is also flourishing, in order for us to go again as a family to do this kind of fellowship. So that kind of pact we have, what makes the give and take quite harmony. So you will not see me go anywhere within these 5 years because I have a pact on that kind of like promise, doing on that. So I think that's the only thing that I can think of how to help if husband is not understanding this well. Maybe, yeah, by just doing give and take, see if you can negotiate. Yeah, I think that's the only thing I can think of.
Thank you, Dr. Aemi. So that sounds like a very good system. Okay, moving on to my next question. So this might come off as a bit controversial. So there is a notion that one of the biggest hindrances for women's success at the workplace are other women. So in your opinion, what can we do to support each other? Perhaps I can get Dr. Izzati to get the ball rolling.
So as I mentioned very early, we have to work together with our colleagues, definitely. And I think so between women, of course, we have like a lot of responsibilities, the personal responsibilities and of course the career responsibilities. So so this is what I always told myself for the past many years. I understand being a woman, of course, I understand the struggle that faced by all women scientists, everywhere, especially in the department. I definitely understand that, because I was also struggling when I was, just come back from my PhD. It was total struggle at the time. But then what I would say, I mean, after several years, then I feel comfortable. Like even until today, people ask me, am I feeling comfortable with my research work, with my research team? How is my research career and everything? I mean, of course, teaching tasks would be different from research, because teaching, it's very straightforward. Yeah, you do teaching, you go classes, and then you get a merit. But research, it's mainly more about, individual, individual initiative, I would say. So, of course, until today, I still got a question whether how is my research? Is everything being settled down? And am I feeling comfortable and everything? So, for the past 20 years, I think what I learned from my own experience is that I think everyone should make other people's tasks easier. For example, like as I mentioned just now, when I was about to go to India, I asked help from my other colleagues, like, can you help me to do this, blah, blah, blah. And like, they helped me a lot. So, so meaning to say is that if as Prof Zaiton mentioned, Aemi also mentioned, if we make people happy, then we are also happy. So if we make other people's tasks a lot easier. You know, in Malay orang cakap mempermudahkan urusan orang. So yeah, so kalau if we selalu mempermudahkan urusan orang, so I think definitely all women scientists everywhere would be, you know, would be I mean, wouldn't have a lot of problems to achieve success. So I really strongly believe because I mean, I would say even in my department, I would say the number of women scientists is a lot more than the men scientists in my department. So in that sense, I really believe that if we really support each other and then make things easier for other people, then everyone will be so happy, and then we can do a lot of jobs a lot easier. In which in many in which is commonly, if not just happening in Malaysia but also in other international institutions, which we can commonly see that when somebody got something, then that person having a very difficult time to get support from other colleagues. So and therefore, like at the end of the day, I mean, even as easy as just to get a paper signed by somebody, that is also, you know, sometimes difficult to be done in some cases. So in that sense, I think if we want to, like, you know, if we want to grow together very strongly in terms of research career, I think everybody, I mean, regardless if you're a woman or if you're a man, I think, you know, just make sure that you always mempermudahkan urusan orang. It's really going to, like, I think make a lot of people can build themselves a lot. So that's my take on that.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Izzati. So, Dr. Amy, do you agree with what Dr. Izzati just shared? So, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm going to comment on the widespread notion itself because, honestly speaking, Dr. Sheila, this is the first time that I heard about this notion actually, because when I see this, no, this is not happening actually around me. I'm not sure about outside, but relate to what Dr. C mentioned about Dr. C and also Prof Zaiton mentioned about that in Malaysia it's not really there's not really gender equality as compared to art outside. Maybe this kind of notion is actually coming from outside rather than in Malaysia itself. But I'm not I don't agree with this notion, because for what I see and what's happening to myself as well, we are like the what do you call there's a movie about the pack of the traveling
Traveling
traveling jeans
pants.
sisters,
Pants.
whatever.
Yeah.
That sisters are right. We are actually helping each other. When I get this fellowship, the first thing that I did was I contacted all Malaysians who get this APEC fellowship from 2018 until 2020, and I asked for their tips and tricks, and they really support everything. They even tell us what bank to open, where is the location of the living area, and so on. And also here, when I get this fellowship, the thing that I have in my mind is I want everybody also want to get this. That's why I'm up to the point of I want to share my application form for future applicants to have what kind of application essay you have to do, everything. I want to share everything so that everyone can go and everyone be happy. When there's a lot of people going for the same direction, I think it will make a lot of people happy, especially our colleagues. So that's what I think. In fact, I have 2 or 3 people having a session with me later to have this kind of face-to-face, one-to-one coaching on how to apply for this. And for Dr. Izzati, I want to meet you face-to-face as well to apply again for that APEC Thailand inclusivity.
Okay, very glad to hear that. Okay, and I'm very glad that it's not happening, at least around us. So, on the back of the topic of empowerment, so after getting the award of fellowship, do you think it changed your career? Any significant changes or contribution from the award of fellowship? Dr. Sui, would you like to share your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. Because like I mentioned before, this L'Oreal Award, they really made a lot of promotion on the women representation in science. So, in the past, I can only promote my research by the traditional way, like conference and also publishing the manuscript. But with after this award, I get more reach out to the public. Like even joining this forum, I think is also an opportunity to me after getting the award. So get more visibility, as what Dr. Izzati said just now. Yeah.
So very good to hear that. So maybe we'll ask someone who have a longer career. So Prof. Zaiton, what do you think of this?
Okay. When as I mentioned earlier, when I obtained this professorship, it was actually I was a fellow at IPASA. So right after I came back in December 2014, in 2015, in 2015, two master students from the university came and we co-supervised them. We were working on sewage treatment together with Prof. Azmin Pasa. So that again, I contributed our chemistry background to the engineering part. And then we had a visit by the high school, Lun, it's high school, Lun High School. So they came to do also their final year project with us. So they use our lab up there in PPA on determining the volatile fatty acid content in sewage. And that research, actually, we have a collaborative research with Lund University. And then later on, the following year, another student came. But they were also all part under IPASA, which is under the Faculty of Civil Engineering. Now, besides that, it's the sharing of experiences, and it makes me more, or not bold, it's like make me more courageous, because when I was in Sweden, one of the things which I had a slight obstacle was that we were all seated, we have our own room sharing with the technician or with other lecturers. One of the lecturers sort of couldn't take the fact that a woman was there from ASEAN coming with a design minor professorship, and he was not pushable. So I tried to approach him. So I asked the technician, why is Mark like that? Oh, he's like that. Zaiton, don't worry. He's always like that. I said, I don't feel nice because I want to make friends with everybody because he was doing work on cellulose, So later on, I made some cookies during, I think, one of the summer break, and I gave him cookies. And he came to me. He said he loved my cookies. He said, and then from there we started to make friends, because he has this, I think it's a gender issue as well. I think he was saying like, women here, and then you from Asian coming to us, And later on, we were starting to talk. With that, with that kind of cookies, I was able to sort of make friends, and that was, and with that, not only that, we managed to, when I was there as a chemist, the engineers do not know that much instrument like XRD, AS, and so on. So I had to search. So I introduced to them all this. By making so, it makes me more courageous to meet people who I do not really know. And I meet people who are outside the chemical engineering as well, getting contact. Even I tried to make contact with Dr. Zainab, research with one of them, but it eventually didn't come up. So that contact was very useful for us to become more mature in our decision, more mature in our dealing with people. And that is very important. You only get experience when you really experience it. You cannot read from books. Reading from books is not the same as getting the hands-on experience. And that is very important to me, I think, in my career.
Okay, so thank you very much. Dr. Amy, would you like to add something? Because I can see that you wanted to add something. Is it true, Amy?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay, moving on. We are actually moving.
We have a question, Sheila, in the chat. We have a question, Sheila.
We have a question from the chat, really?
Would you
Okay.
like to share your Linda
Oh.
experience, Sheila?
Oh, okay. So, maybe I'll very briefly share what happened. So, I went for the Lindau Nobel laureate meetings back in 2017. So, I have to say that I was quite lucky. That was my first time applying, and that was right. I applied right after becoming an academic staff in the Faculty of Science. Okay, so I tried applying for it. So there was a AC and everything you have to do, and you have to compete with everyone from all over the world because they only take a certain number of young scientists from all over the world. And this was under Academy Sciences of Malaysia. So I wrote in and I was very lucky to be one of them who got it. However, the one thing that we should also do is also, like what I said, we have to discuss with the faculty because part of the financial support has to come from the faculty. So I'm very thankful. Other than ASM, the Faculty of Science also supported me. So I went to Bavaria, Germany for around 1 week plus, where we get to meet more than 30 Nobel laureates, mostly in chemistry, because every year they have a different theme. So 1 year will be chemistry, 1 year will be physics, 1 year will be economy, and so on. So the year that I went to was in chemistry. So there, I must say, although it was really good to see, to get to meet all the Nobel laureate, very inspiring. A thing that I saw was very prevalent is how competitive all young scientists was, I mean, still are. So we had to sort of compete with all the young scientists from all over the world in order to talk to the Nobel laureate, in order to ask questions, in order to see them and everything. Because after all, the whole point of the meeting was to meet with the Nobel laureate and hear their experiences. So it was definitely a very competitive meeting. However, I also learned a lot. I had a lot of good friends also from there on. Some I'm still in touch with. So yeah, so I would encourage everyone below 40 to try for this, all the scientists, because every year the theme is different. This year is chemistry also. So please, I would encourage everyone to try for it. It's just a very simple application. Okay. And of course, speak to your faculty and university about the financial support. Okay. So I hope that is some sharing from my side about Lindau. Okay, so we are now moving to the concluding round where I will ask each of our panelists one question, okay, before we end the forum. So I will start with Prof. Zaiton. So having accomplished so much and being the most experienced here, what are the ways you stay grounded and take care of yourself? Some you have mentioned just now, but is there any other way that you stay grounded? Sorry, Prof, you're muted now.
Well, to be honest, as a Muslim, be close to Allah SWT. Make sure you pray on time. Make sure you recite the Quran every day. Make sure you be good to everybody, not only human being, but to people, the cats, the dogs, the plants, the fishes, everything that you see. If you have aquarium at house, actually I have an aquarium which I need to clean. Be good to everybody. And then whatever, as Izzati said, whatever comes to you is actually meant for you. They will come at the right time, at the right place. And be positive. If you're stuck in the traffic jam, like Izzati says, be happy. No point grumbling, right? Betul? Normally what I do during the traffic jam in KL, I have my breakfast. Because I study UM, this traffic jams. So that is when I eat my breakfast in the car. Simple breakfast, apple or sandwiches, that's it. You always have something in the car because while you are now you can turn on the audio, if you want to listen. So just be happy, don't grumble because no point grumbling. Then you see somebody doing something funny, just laugh, just laugh. Don't grumble, don't say how funny, how stupid or so. No, don't say anything negative. Then life will be at ease with you, you find that you take things positive. Maybe that person doesn't know something, kesiannya, maybe Allah will show him to a good path, and be in good faith. Look at the good side of everybody. But of course, kita kena be careful juga kan. Look at the good side of everybody. As a Muslim, stay, your prayers. Always pray for people, not only for you, for your family, and also for your friends around you, for your friends. And then people will pray for you again, for you to have a good life, inshallah. That is how I stay grounded. Besides shopping, Sheila, besides shopping and, having my coffee. Yeah, okay. That's all, Sheila.
Thank you, Prof. For some helpful ways we can emulate. Okay, so I'm going to direct the next question to Dr. Izzati. So can you tell us what is the one question you're most tired of hearing on this subject, and what would you like to say about it so that you never have to answer it again?
So the most question that the frequent question that people always ask me is that, are you not afraid of traveling alone? Like, because, when you take the fellowship, of course, you have to go alone. Like, in my case, I have to go alone. I cannot bring families. So I have to travel alone. And then, of course, that's a constant question that I always receive. Is it going to be safe? And then especially when I traveled to Chiang Mai in Thailand for the APEC and then to Rajasthan, which is very far away from New Delhi. It was like 8 hours from New Delhi, the capital of India. So Rajasthan was 8 hours away. So of course, this is what I would say. Of course, everybody has to be concerned and concerned about the safety, of course, which is important. But then also but if we keep on, as I said just now, always be positive, because if you start thinking something bad will happen to you, it will really might be happening to you. So when I was received the fellowship for APEC Thailand, I was also, you know, I was also like ask myself, is everything going to be okay or not? But that's the only question that I ask. And then on that day, I told myself, just enjoy the time. Everything's gonna be okay. And to my surprise, when I was in Thailand, I didn't feel. I mean, I felt very happy. Everything was very nice in Thailand. So then done Thailand, and then about to go to India after that. After 2 weeks I came back from Thailand, and I have to go to India. Then the worry comes again, like will everything gonna be okay in India, in which I don't understand the language at all. And then of course, so I like, but then I was very worried, and then I talked to my mom and I said, I hope everything's gonna be okay, and then please pray for me. And then she said, no, just go, everything's gonna be okay. So my take on this is that, of course, we have to be concerned about the safety, but most of the fellowships, I think even the one I knew, which is going to open very soon, is the one to travel to Italy under IDCEB. Even like we think, oh, it's Italy, definitely it's going to be safe, for example, because it's a European country. But trust me, I mean, although we think Italy is going to be safe because it's a European country, might not necessarily will be safe. So what I'm trying to say is that whatever, if you got the fellowships, I would say try to take it, and then do not be concerned a lot about the safety. So because I got a lot of questions whether is it safe to travel alone. So yeah, it is safe, especially when you have the fellowship. Someone will be taking care of you. Trust me. I think that's also happened to Dr. Aemi when she traveled to Australia APEC, because someone will definitely take care of you over there. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Mm.
So thank you, Dr. Izzati, for sharing that. So the next question, this is for Dr. Sui. So who is an alumnus of our industrial chemistry program, of course. So what advice would you give to other female scientists who are interested to apply for these scholarship awards?
I would say as long as you're eligible and when there's a chance, just go for it. Because if you never try, you don't stand a chance. But if you try, at least there's a possibility of getting it. Like I say, I myself also go through a lot of barriers, and don't feel shy or hesitate to ask for supports if you need. Like and also to cite what they say just now, pemuda ke urusan. Yeah. So when I ask for the recommendation letter every year, I also try to based on the previous template that my referee provided. So I just update certain parts and then highlight to him so that he don't have to go through the whole letters again. I think that actually is the preparation. And for those who probably doesn't know you much but need to provide the letter for you, you can probably draft a letter for them and then ask if they're okay with this, if they want to type anything. I think that also helps to save a lot of time. Yeah, just don't feel hesitate to try again. And all the best. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Sui. Brilliant. We'll keep them in mind. So, Dr. Aemi, we all know how prestigious and cutthroat all these awards and fellowships that you obtain are. So how do you encourage women scientists to not give up even after many failed applications?
First is of course always to try. I always hold on to this saying my family always said, it's always untung sabut you will get it. Untung sabut is going to timbul. So there's no loss on your part except for your time, of course, to try on any of these. If you don't get it, you get the experience on applying for it. And also how on my part, how do I encourage is by like not promoting. It's just that by giving or by sharing my experience, and just like what I messaged in the chat, I offer one-to-one coaching. In fact, since the beginning, That's, I think, from my part, is the like measurable support that I can give from another person to another person for this kind of this thing.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Amy. Well said. So, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, due to time constraints, we have almost come to the end of our forum today. Should there be any further questions, I'm sure the panelists will be more than happy to answer your questions if you contact them afterwards. So, from discussion, I'm sure we can all agree that there is a pressing need to develop a mindset that, as women, should aspire to put ourselves out there and apply for these prestigious awards and fellowship. Even if we have failed before, that should not stop us from applying again, and we shall never give up. So going forward, we must, at all levels, continue to work towards implementing real and lasting change to encourage and empower women in science. Okay, so to commemorate today's event, I would like to request for everyone to switch on their cameras so we can take a few screenshots. So please give us your widest smile as the technical team takes the screenshot.